Hey, it's Catherine from CatherinePooler.com. In today's video, we are going to be die cutting some flowers, embossing them, and inlaying them, but I have a little twist on inlaid die cutting for you. Not sure if I've seen this before, so I didn't know what to call it, and I'm calling it floating inlaid die cuts. All right, you ready to see how it's done? There are quite a number of steps for this card. The first one that I'm going to do is die cutting the wild garden flowers that I want to use. Well, I'm going to use this flower and this leaf, and check out these dies. I can't stop using them. They're awesome. I have my piece of white, and I'm going to use this leaf, and I'm going to kind of eyeball it so that it's in the center-ish. And then I'll do this flower on top, and I'll die cut those two. And then I want another one of those flowers down at the bottom. Now what I'm left with is these partial die cuts, and since I'm going to inlay these back in, I want full die cuts. So I have just die cut a couple more, so these are ready to go. And then I'm gonna pop this up with the dimensionals. When you lay these back in, there's nothing for them to attach to. So I've grabbed a piece of this clear sheet, and that is what you usually use to make shaker cards out of. So here's another use for that awesome stuff. I'm just gonna adhere this right on here like that. And we'll set that aside for a minute. I don't want these to be plain white. I want them to look like little metal accents, so I'm going to emboss them. You can use silver, you can use gold, you can do black. Black actually would look really cool because it would be very striking against the watercoloring that I'm gonna do. But I decided I wanted to use this Platinum Sparkle by Wow. It's a glitter embossing powder. So I'm just tapping these flowers right on my Versamark ink pad, getting them all tacky so then they will hold the embossing glitter. Sprinkle that right over. The pointy end of some scissors would work. I'm going to use my quick stick to pick these up. Now I'm going to take my heat tool and heat that. You can see that embossing powder liquefy and turn into a embossed glittery piece of gorgeousness. Now just FYI, this is melting the end of my quick stick, so I'm going to change to scissors. I forgot, I was doing this yesterday and the same thing happened, so now I have a little hook on the end of my quick stick. If you want a thicker coat, you can just dab it straight into your Versamark pad again, and then get some more embossing powder, and then you'll get a really nice thick layer of embossing powder. Now another way to do this, if you're quick, and you get it before it cools down, you can just grab this, throw it right back into there, and if it's still kind of liquidy, look at that, it picked up more powder, so you don't have to Versamark it again. Now that I've got my piece ready, I think the next step should be adding the sentiment. So I'm using the Amazing Women stamp set. It's new by Ellen Hudson. One thing I love about it is it has the smaller sentiments to either go on the inside of your card or stamp on the outside. And it's great for mom, daughter, grandmother, sister, friend, all the ladies in your life. So I'm taking the mom and one of the other little greetings, and I'm just going to line them up here. I think using my MISTI is going to be my best bet here so that I can make sure I get this all even and straight. I don't want to have to do this die cutting again. And then I want a really crisp black image, so I'm going to use my VersaFine ink pad. And I can stamp it more than once if I want to make sure that it's really black and crisp. It's no surprise that in true CP fashion that I have black smudges on my main piece here. What a shocker. So I'm gonna have to do some creative sequin placement on this. And I'm just adding a little bit of liquid glue to my flowers, and then I'm gonna fit them in. So here is our inlaid die cutting. So I have these all pieced in here, and I have some liquid glue. One tip is to figure out which orientation they go before you put on the glue. And in hindsight, I think I should have used some adhesive sheets instead of the liquid glue. Because if you make any wrong moves, now you're gonna have liquid glue on your window sheets or your clear acetate there, and it will show. So we'll just, I don't know, deal with that later. And now we are going to move on to the little watercoloring piece. I have a 4 by 5¼ inch piece of white. Now, if you have a mom with a little bit more simple style, you may want to leave it just like this. It looks beautiful, and the silver and the black and the white are really crisp and really elegant. I want to add some watercoloring, so I'm going to do a little abandoned coral, some crushed olive, and salty ocean. I'm going to spray a little bit of water, and I know my leaf is in the middle, so I want the middle to be green. I'm just going to add some crushed olive on here, and I'm going to let that dry before I move on to the next part. You can speed it up with your heat tool or just let it naturally dry. Now when I do my salty ocean and the abandoned coral, I think I want to have a little bit more color variation there, so I'm adding some picked raspberry and peacock feathers. We'll just spray that down and pick up the salty ocean, let that kind of spread around, and then peacock feathers and add that in. So now we got some color variation going. You can go into the green if you want, or you can leave them separate. I'm going to do the same thing with the pinks and orange. And then let it dry or speed it along with your heat tool. I've added my watercolored piece to a black matte and then the card base and then a bunch of dimensional adhesive on the back of this. We'll add this to the front. I love how this looks. It's like inlaid die cutting. I think a few clear sparkling sequins on the outside are definitely calling this card's name. So we'll add a few of these, cover up some of those little black smears and smudges that I inevitably made. And if you are wondering about any of the products here, be sure to hop over to my blog. I will list out everything I use so you know what they are and where to get them. Thank you so much for being here. Be sure to give me a thumbs up if you like this video and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you again really soon.